Hello, today in less than 5 minutes, KNG International Advisors will bring you up to speed on the international financial markets. This week's report is entitled, Spain reclaims the crown as the biggest World Cup in history draws to a close. Congratulations are in order for Spain, crowned champions of the 2026 FIFA World Cup after a tense 1-0 extra time victory over Argentina at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. Spain won the FIFA World Cup with a 1-0 extra time win over Argentina, marking the Spanish men's team's second World Cup title, after winning their first in 2010. Ferran Torres struck the decisive blow deep into extra time, and fittingly it was a defensive masterclass that got them there. Spain's run to the title was a defensive masterclass, with wins over 4 of the world's top 10 teams, and they are the first World Cup champion to win the title while only conceding a single goal. The numbers behind this tournament are staggering, even by football's own inflated standards. FIFA projected that approximately 6 billion people would engage with the tournament across broadcast, streaming and digital platforms, an increase of 20% over Qatar 2022. On the ticketing side, more than 5 million tickets were sold across North America, with that figure potentially reaching 6 million. FIFA had expected to make $11 billion in revenue, but nations have already been informed that the actual figure sits at around $15 billion instead, an all-time high for a World Cup. According to official data, nearly 2.8 million beers were sold across the authorized stands of stadiums in the 3 host countries, reflecting the enormous mobilization of fans. On the pitch, discipline was tested throughout, with 268 cards, yellow and red combined, issued at the tournament as of mid-July, including 254 yellow cards. Goals were plentiful too, and the individual battle for the Golden Boot went down to the wire. Kylian Mbappé won the 2026 World Cup Golden Boot with 10 goals, finishing 2 clear of Lionel Messi, becoming the first player to win the award twice and the World Cup's all-time top scorer with 22. Whether this expanded, star-studded spectacle shifts the needle permanently for football in a country where the NFL, NBA and baseball have long ruled supreme remains an open question. Early engagement numbers from the build-up were encouraging, but converting a month of novelty into sustained interest is a different challenge entirely, one that previous US-hosted tournaments have not always managed. Back in the world that never takes a month off, the message from the major houses, BlackRock, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, UBS and Pacific Asset Management among them, has remained fairly consistent through the tournament period. Corporate earnings are holding up, and AI investment continues to underpin productivity gains across sectors. Global growth remains resilient, though valuations in pockets of the market, technology in particular, are looking stretched by most conventional measures. The refrain to look beyond the so-called Magnificent Seven continues, with US equities more broadly, emerging markets, diversified portfolios and a modest allocation to gold all featuring in current positioning discussions. Diversification remains the watchword, and for long-term investors the advice is unchanged: resist the urge to time the market. On artificial intelligence specifically, the conversation has moved on from pure semiconductor plays. The broader investable universe now centers on data centers, the electricity generation needed to power them, grid infrastructure, cooling technology and cybersecurity, a recognition that AI's bottlenecks are increasingly physical rather than purely computational. Beyond AI, diversified portfolios are expected to carry greater exposure to Japan, Europe and India, alongside sectors such as infrastructure, defense and industrials. Corporate results have supported this cautious optimism, with Bank of New York, JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs all reporting solid numbers this earnings season. On fixed income, the house view across most of these institutions remains cautious, though conviction on that call appears to be softening somewhat as the weeks pass. Geopolitical concerns have not eased. At home, President Trump's approval rating has slipped below 40%, a reflection of a broader disconnect between market performance and how Americans feel about their own finances. Despite rising equity markets and cooling inflation readings, households are still paying noticeably more than they were 2 years ago, and that lived experience is proving hard to shake. The unresolved conflict with Iran continues to weigh on sentiment, with growing appetite among Americans for disengagement and a pivot back toward domestic priorities. The World Cup may have offered a welcome month of distraction from all of this, but like every tournament before it, it will fade from daily conversation until it rolls around again in 4 years. Markets, meanwhile, never take a break, and they will continue delivering their familiar mixture of challenges and opportunities long after the celebrations in Madrid have died down.